Falcha, and welcome to this video where we're going to talk about the Dram in a Can from Two Stacks. I think it's fair to say that these are just about the cutest things you'll see when it comes to Irish whiskey, and the Dram in a Can will turn heads everywhere. From the TSA checkpoint to the first tee box to the top of that mountain that you just climbed. And like every story that we seem to tell around Irish whiskey, there's some wonderful history wrapped up in the cans. The story goes that in the late 1800s, 1889 to be exact, Powers Irish Whiskey invented or created the mini bottle. They were a little different from the mini or airline size that we see today, as back then it contained 71 mils of fine Powers single pot still. Powers was considered the best or the premium Dublin whiskey at the time and was out of reach price-wise to the working man and woman. So, being the pioneers that Powers were, they created a bottle with half a gill of whiskey inside, sealed it with a cork, and for good measure they added a tiny corkscrew to each bottle. Why half a gill, you ask? Well, in old imperial measurements, a pint was made up of 4 gills, and spirits were sold in fractions of gills, and those varied from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Historically in Ireland, a quarter of a gill was the legal measure for spirits, and that equates to 35.5 mils in new money. And no prizes for guessing that that is now the standard spirit measure in Ireland, both in the Republic and in the North. So back in the late 1880s, the Baby Powers, as it became known, was a generous pour of Irish whiskey, being in essence a double measure. Over time, the 71 ml half a gill mini became the 50 ml mini and is now seen everywhere. With innovation being so important at Two Stacks, in late 2020, the lads, as we call them, came up with the idea of updating or modernising the mini bottle, and the Dram in a Can was born. It launched in 2021 to much acclaim and is now sold around the world. What's in the can is the exact same liquid that you find in the bottle. It's all whiskey with no mixer, and I like to call it straight up whiskey. It's not a cocktail in a can, and while it is ready to drink from the can, it's not an RTD. The can itself is made from aluminum or aluminium, depending on which dialect of English that you speak, and is lined to prevent any contact with the precious liquid inside. The drams in cans are TSA compliant, as opposed to TSA approved, and having taken them through plenty of times myself, make sure to remove them from your bag and pop them in a plastic baggie to comply with the TSA 311 rule. As you'd expect from Two Stacks, there's complete transparency, and we tell you on each and every can what you're drinking. Your imagination can and will run wild thinking of events and places where the Dram in a Can will raise eyebrows and turn heads. Think golf outings, poolside and other gatherings where no glass is allowed, sports events, virtual tasting events, wedding party favours, holiday stocking stuffers and campfire celebrations. For our friends in the on-premise channels, think of the Dram in a Can as an easy way to help with controlling pour costs, as it's difficult to overpour when there's nothing left in the can. With a measure of liquor in the US generally considered to be 1.5 fluid ounces or 45 mils, the Dram in a Can tips its hat to history and the Baby Powers by being in essence a double measure. Think of the Dram in a Can as history in your hand, but updated for the modern drinker. The Dram in a Can is currently available here stateside with 2 offerings. Both the single grain double barrel, maroon, and signature blend, green, are available in 100 ml cans with 24 of these to a case. Slàinte.